Welcome. My name's Dean Bruce, and along with Katie Getz, we are co-leads on New Mexico Department of Ag's Healthy Soil Program. For today's video, we are going to go through the process of creating a soil map and an ecological site description map, and this is required for individual applicants wishing to apply for the Healthy Soil Program. So next slide, please. Okay, so in creating a soils map or an ecological site description map, you'll be using the same web software. It's Web Soil Survey. And for projects that will occur on cropland, NMDA's Healthy Soil Program grant application will require you to create and upload a soils map of your project site. If your project's going to occur on rangeland, NMDA's Healthy Soil Program grant application will require you to create and upload an ecological site description map of your project site. If, however, your project is going to occur on both cropland and rangeland, NMDA's Healthy Soil Program grant application will require you to create and upload both a soils map and an ecological site description map of your project site. Next slide, please. So in creating a soils map using Web Soil Survey, anyone can use the software. Any individual applicant that is wishing to apply for the Healthy Soil Program on cropland can use the software. You need to create a soils map before you work with your NRCS conservation planner to complete conservation planning. Having the soils map in hand will allow you to work with your conservation planner to look at the soil types that are present on your land, especially the project site, as well as the distribution or percentages of those different soil types that exist on your project site. Again, you'll create the soils map using Web Soil Survey. So next slide, please. For an ecological site description map, you will also use Web Soil Survey. And these maps will be completed for individual applicants that are applying for the Healthy Soil Program on rangeland. So any application that includes rangeland will need a ecological site description map. Again, it's best to complete this ecological site description map prior to meeting with your USDA NRCS conservation planner so that you can have the basic information in hand, such as the ecological site descriptions that are present on your land, especially your project site, as well as the distribution or percentages of those ESDs that occur on your land. You will create the ecological site description map on Web Soil Survey. So both the soil map and the ecological site description map will be completed on the same web software. Next slide, please. So once you've created your soil map or your ecological site description map, what exactly do you need to do with it? Well, the first thing is to provide that map to your NRCS conservation planner when they come out to your land to complete conservation planning with you. This allows them to understand the soils that you have on your project site, as well as the ecological site description, so that they can tailor the conservation planning that they're going to do to your specific site. Also, you'll need to upload that map when you actually apply for NMDA's Healthy Soil Program, which will be coming out in early 2024. The soils map and ecological site description map are also crucial to help you develop your approach for testing and assessing the soil. Both of these activities are required as part of your Healthy Soil Program grant. If there are multiple soil types and or ecological site descriptions that are present on your project site, it's best to ask your NRCS conservation planner for guidance on how many soil samples you should take from the site for soil testing and or assessment. Once you learn where these sites exist, the various soil map units, as well as the ecological site descriptions, this should help you tailor your testing and assessment protocol as you move forward with your Healthy Soil Program grant. Next slide, please. Finishing up, before we actually create a soil map or ecological site description map, we do ask you to keep in touch with us by subscribing to our Healthy Soil Program e-newsletter for more information about grants as well as other soil health news and events across the state. You can sign up at the Healthy Soil Program webpage listed here. You can also email us your program ideas or questions to the Healthy Soil Program email. It's hsp@nmda.nmsu.edu. Or you can call us at 575-646-2642. So I'm going to leave it on this slide for just a second so that you can have that information to keep in touch with us and subscribe to our e-newsletter. And now it's at this point that I am going to share my screen and open up a web soil survey for you. Okay, so once you are ready to start working on your soil map or ecological site description map, you can either go to type in the address to the web browser, or you can go to a search engine and simply type in USDA Web Soil Survey. You should end up on this page. Once you end up on this page, if you'll follow my cursor, we are going to start Web Soil Survey, the green button right here in the middle of the page. Okay, so next you'll end up at a map of the United States. The first thing you're going to do is want to navigate as close to your location as possible. There are multiple options on how to do that. You can actually type in your address. You can type in state and county. You could type in latitude and longitude of your current location. If you have access to those coordinates, you would just type them in here. You can also use section range township of your current location. For today's exercise, I'm simply going to use state and county. So you'll go down here, click on the state and county button. You will scroll to New Mexico. Select that, and then you'll go down to your county. For today's video, I'm going to select Curry County. And then once you have your state and your county selected, you will click on View. And that will bring you into, this is Curry County on the eastern side of New Mexico. And so from that point, I'm going to use the zoom in button to navigate closer to where I want to be. So I'm going to select an area right around Melrose and just zoom in a little bit closer so I can find the location that I want to be. If you need to move the map around, you can use this hand, move the map around wherever you need it to go, and then go back to your zoom in to get closer to your location. For today's video, I'm going to select this field right there. Okay, so from this point, you've identified your location. We have the fields fairly identified on our screen. The next step is to create your area of interest. There's two different options to create an area of interest. One is the first one right here, which is simply a rectangle or a square. And the next one over here is an irregular shaped polygon. With the square or rectangle, the only issue with it is your land has to be a perfect square or a rectangle for this one to work. And so you might miss out on some of your land if it's not perfectly square. So for today's video, I'm going to use the irregular shaped one. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. Okay, so I have my my field that I'm going to select. I'm going to select the irregular shaped polygon tool. And for this one, you're simply going to use one mouse click at each corner or each location that you want to mouse click. And then when you finish up with your field, you can double click it. This now has set your area of interest. If for some reason when you were creating your area of interest, you made a mistake or something, you can always clear your area of interest. We'll do that real quick. And this lets us start over. So we'll just start over and create a new area of interest. I'm going to do one more exercise to show that you can do basically any shape you want to with this. So with that irregular shape polygon area of interest tool, you can create any shape you need. So if you have irregular shaped fields that aren't perfectly square, you can just click on the boundaries of those and do that. So I'm going to clear the area of interest and select the whole thing one more time. Okay, so again, select the area of interest tool, start at one corner. You'll notice this field isn't perfectly straight. This corner. And then again, at the final corner, you're going to double click. So at this point, for both a soil map and an ecological site description map, the process is exactly the same. You will find your area, you will select your area of interest tool, you'll create your area of interest for your field. At this point, you can name your area of interest. Okay, so over here in the area of interest information, I simply typed HSP example. And so that gives you a name for your project and for your report. So from this point, we have our area of interest created. We're going to scroll up. We're going to go to the shopping cart. And again, all of this is free, so you don't have to worry about paying for any of this. So over here on the left-hand side, we just have the title of it. So you're going to title it your area of interest name. You can have also a custom subtitle if you need another title for that for your project. And then in the table of contents, it's going to show you what is going to actually show up on your soil map report. You're going to have your custom soil resource report for Curry County. You're going to have a cover, a preface, contents. Typically, I uncheck the button for how soil surveys are made. This simply kind of cuts down on the size of the document. And then I also uncheck the references. It's not necessary, but it just cuts down on the size of the document. You want to make sure that everything is checked under your soil map as well as your soil data explorer. Okay, from this point, once you have that all checked, you will simply go to checkout. And it will ask you if you want to get now or download later. And I just select get now, and it will open up into a PDF, which you can then save to your computer. And then also print off to provide for your conservation planner. So going through this document, we have your custom soil resource report for Curry County. Here is your area of interest title that you gave it. So HSP example. You can also have a subtitle. And as you scroll through this report, there's your basic map. And if you keep scrolling, there's a little additional information on soil surveys and some information like that. If you keep scrolling, you'll have your table of contents, which will include your soil map, your map unit legend, your map unit descriptions. Now you get to your soil map. So you have your soil map that you have created on Web Soil Survey. You'll notice here there are 3 different soil types on this one location. So you have your map. Here's your legend. Then here are your 3 different soil types, as well as the number of acres of each soil type and the total acres of the field itself. It also gives you the percentages of each soil type. And this can help guide you in determining how many soil tests you might need to take. If some of these soil map units are similar in nature, you might not need to take additional soil samples, but it's best to work with your conservation planner um, to determine the best approach for your soil testing protocol, as well as your in-field assessments. But here are your 3 map units that are on this field. If you move down, this will actually give you the map unit descriptions. Keep scrolling down. You'll notice the first soil, the predominant soil on this map, on this particular field, is an Amarillo loamy fine sand, 0 to 3% slope. This is the information that your conservation planner will use to determine the best approach for your healthy soil project. And this helps guide the conservation planner in understanding the inherent soil properties. And these are the soil properties that are your sand, your silt, your clay, your mineral content, things of that nature. The inherent soil properties that are included in your soil map unit are not likely to change very quickly. And so those types of things will not change quickly. It's your organic matter and your microbiology of your soil. That's where you will have the most impact on soil health. And so as you and your conservation planner are working together, it's important to understand the inherent soil properties so that they can determine the best types of plants that may be utilized and the best types of healthy soil practices that will help improve your soil health based on soil type. So that is your basic soil map that you as an individual applicant will upload as part of your grant application. And so you will need to upload this entire document and also present it to your conservation planner. So I'm going to scroll back to the top. And this is about a 15-page document. But you can, again, you can provide this to your conservation planner, and also it will be part of your grant application. So at this point, I am going to move back to Web Soil Survey, and now we're going to create an ecological site description map. So the easiest way to do that is to go back to Soil Map. Let's go back to all the way back to your area of interest. Okay, so if you're creating an ecological site description map for rangeland, you will create it exactly the same as we did for cropland. You will determine your area of interest. You will use the area of interest tool. You will click around the boundaries. And then once you have completed that, you can also, again, name your area of interest information. You can provide it with a name. So we're going to name it example ranch. So you have a name for your ecological site description map. So we'll scroll up just a little bit. And it's at this point, we will go to Soil Data Explorer tab. Okay, once you're on the Soil Data Explorer tab, you have several selections that you can make over here. We are going to go to land classification because that is where the ecological site description maps can be found. So once you click on land classification, you're going to scroll down to NRCS ecological site name. Again, you're going to click on NRCS ecological site name, click on that button, and you're going to scroll down. It's best to check the detailed description because that provides more information. And then once you've clicked detailed description, you're going to click right here on view rating. Again, the soils did not change on this. We still have 3 individual soil types, but we have now 2 ecological sites. They're listed down here. In order to get your map, you're going to add to the shopping cart. So you click add to the shopping cart. You can give it a subtitle if you would like. Give it the same subtitle, HSP Example Ranch, and then you will click OK, and then this will add it to your shopping cart. So once you've added it to the shopping cart, you will now go to your shopping cart. Same information over here. You have a subtitle of it. You can name it anything you want. You can name it with your project name, your ranch name, whatever name you choose to allow you to determine what your project is going to be called. Your table of contents will be very similar to what we just saw in creating a soil map. You're going to have your custom soil resource report, and then your cover, your preface, your contents. Again, I typically uncheck the how surveys are made item. And then in this one, since we've added the ecological site description name to our map, you now have a soil map, but you also have your ecological site description right here. And if you want to, if you are strictly completing your project on rangeland, you can uncheck your soil map, and this will only provide you with the ecological site description map. I think it's best to go ahead and provide your conservation planner with the soils map in addition to the ecological site name that is listed here. So once you've selected everything that you want in your final report, we'll scroll up and you will click on checkout. Again, you'll get the same option right here. You'll have an option to get now or download later. For today's example, let's go ahead and get now. And this will create a PDF file, which you can then print off and also save it for uploading to your Healthy Soil Program grant application at a later date. You'll notice here we have the custom soil resource report for Curry County and southwest part of Quay County, New Mexico. You have the name that you gave it when you titled your area of interest. So we're going to scroll down. Here's your location map. Just a little bit of background information. This one is also going to contain your soil map. So you have your soil map and also have your soil information for all uses, which contains your ecological site description map. So let's scroll down. Again, we have our soil map. We have 3 individual soil map units that are contained in this field. You have your legend. Again, your map unit legend, which describes the acres of each soil map unit, as well as the total acres in the field and the percentages based upon each soil map unit. We have your map unit descriptions. These describe the inherent soil properties of each of your map units that are contained within your field. We're going to scroll a little bit quickly through these. Again, there's 3 individual map units. So you're going to have three individual descriptions of your soil map units. Now, here's where we get into the information on the ecological site descriptions. This is just a little bit of background information on what ecological site descriptions are. And here is your ecological site description map. You'll notice you still have the three map units. However, based on the ecological site, you only have two different ecological sites. You have this color here, and then the majority of it is this tan or brown color. And that is based on soil type, as well as the plants that would naturally grow there, the composition of plants that would grow there. And so the ecological sites give you a good idea of what plants should be growing there, uh, what types of grasses, what types of forbs, shrubs, as well as the percentages of each of those. So here's your ecological site description map. Moving down here is your map legend. So you'll notice we only have two ecological sites. We have a limey upland, 16 to 21, and a sandy, 16 to 21. And this is where your NRCS conservation planner will help guide you in understanding those ecological sites, what the plant conditions should be out there, what types of plants, and things like that. And so once you provide this map to your NRCS conservation planner, they will be able to provide you with the information related to each of those. So we're going to scroll past the legend, and now we have your table. And you'll notice we have the three soil types still listed: your Amarillo loamy fine sand, your Posey fine sandy loam, and your Spantera fine sand. If you'll notice, the Amarillo loamy fine sand and the Spantera fine sand are the same ecological site. It's a sandy 16 to 21 inch. And so that helps you understand the percentages of the ecological sites within your area. So we have the areas for each soil type, and then we have the area for each of the individual ecological sites. You'll notice on this one, the vast majority of this particular field is a sandy 16 to 21 inch. And so NRCS can, once they know this information, they can help tailor the conservation planning process to your specific site. And so let me scroll back up, and this entire document will need to be uploaded as part of your Healthy Soil Program grant application. And so if you are planning a project on both rangeland and cropland, you can upload this document if the land is contiguous. If the land is not contiguous, you will likely have to create two separate soil map reports. At this point, I'm going to go back to Web Soil Survey. And again, Web Soil Survey is free. You do not have to pay anything for these maps, but I just want to go real quickly. You're going to start with your area of interest. The first thing you're going to do is define your area of interest. Once you have found your property, you'll use the area of interest tool. For a basic soil map, you will simply go to the shopping cart and select the items you want. For an ecological site description map, you will have to go to Soil Data Explorer. From Soil Data Explorer, you will then click on Land Classification. Once you've clicked on Land Classification, you will click NRCS Ecological Site Name. Once you've done that, you will click View Rating, Add to Shopping Cart, and then you will go to your shopping cart and print your ecological site description map. We ask that any potential participants in the Healthy Soil Program, um, if you run into any issues or you need further information, we do ask you feel free to contact us or work with your local NRCS office to answer any of the questions you may have regarding your soil map or your ecological site description map. It is our hope that this video will help you learn a little bit more about your soils that you are managing as a farmer, rancher, land manager, so that you can better improve the soil health on your operation. I guess at this point, we will go ahead and end the video, and hope you have a good day. And again, feel free to contact the NMDA Healthy Soil Program team if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you.